A cat food recall linked to concerns over the bird flu is just the latest in a growing number of bird flu related issues across the country. In fact, California just declared a state of emergency over the spread of the virus. Local infectious disease specialist Dr. Dee Banks is back with us to explain how the bird flu is spread and also what risks it entails. Dr. Banks, so far this is confirmed in 16 states. It is spreading. So how is the virus spread when you look at the bird flu, especially this latest version of it?
Well, it appears that the way that the virus is transmitted is through from wild birds and dairy cows, but primarily through their saliva, their feces. When humans come in contact with these bodily products, it appears that right now is the main way of transmission, and also from bird to birds coming in contact with infected body parts.
Okay, now what are some of the symptoms then in the animals that these farmers are noticing when it comes to the bird flu?
Well, at least in chickens, which we have more information about because they're sort of a captive audience. When the farmers know when their poultry sick, but decreased egg production seems to be a big one. They're just not producing eggs like they should, and this is something that the farmers are looking out for, because it's not that this virus is a brand new virus and they've had to cull flocks of birds historically, but those are the things that they look out for.
In California, the bird flu virus is ripping through dairy cattle herds. Hundreds have gotten infected, including 900 reported in the 16 states that I mentioned. So what should humans be aware of then when it comes to dairy, maybe even meat products? Would that carry over?
Well, I think, I want to say we need to remain vigilant. Our risk still is low in terms of human transmission, and certainly human to human. But coming in contact with, infected animals, and it appears this latest case, which has created some concern, is the first case that we've had of severe infection in somebody who has had the H5N1 avian flu. And that person did come in contact with infected birds. So if you're around infected birds or dead birds or cows that are sick or that farmers have noticed, you need to stay away from these animals.
And how rare is it then, let's say you're working with them, can the folks working with these animals do anything to protect themselves, or is it pretty difficult because they're so close to the animals?
Yes, no. The CDC does have recommendations of personal protective gear, as I call it, our PPEs, gowns and gloves. It doesn't really appear to be as efficient a respiratory spread. The animal model that they've used is the ferret, which seems when they've looked at ferrets in H5N1, it really doesn't appear to be that efficient as a respiratory spread virus. But certainly if you're coming in contact with bodily fluids, excreta, gloves, and maybe even masks, because it's not like it can't happen, but those kinds of things that we do for any of the viruses.
Now, I know a lot of us will notice some of the ripple effect with the recalls we're seeing. There's multiple of them, but also the prices of eggs. I'm wondering if this worsens, though, among the livestock, among the dairy herds and the chickens and the birds. What will you be watching for? Because this could become another big wipeout in terms of some of the farms.
Well, I'm going to be looking at the data that we're gathering now, that we're gleaning from the infectivity rate, looking at California and how, every day they're looking and doing genetic sequencing of this. And so I'm going to be looking for large volumes of animals. And this has happened previously, where they've had to, like I said, cull large volumes of livestock and poultry.
All right, definitely something to watch out for. We're seeing all the headlines, so glad you were able to join us and explain how this works and what to watch out for. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.